Pattaya is a city known for many reasons. Its beaches, vibrant nightlife, neon signs, bars on every corner, and sounds that echo into the night. But beyond traditional tourism, there is an aspect of this city that attracts, intrigues, and often causes controversy. Massage houses. They are everywhere, with facades ranging from discreet to extravagant, offering services that go from body relaxation to what many refer to, with a sly smile, as something more. This video is about that, but not in the way you are probably used to seeing out there. The aim here is not to sensationalize, much less to judge. It's to understand, to carefully observe what lies behind this phenomenon so present in the daily life of Pattaya. What do these massage houses really offer? Who are the people who work there? Why are so many of them concentrated in this city? And why has this type of service become one of the unofficial postcards of Thailand? In the next few minutes, we will walk through this universe. We will show how these houses operate, hear stories from those who work in them, understand the role they play within the local culture, tourism, and economy. And above all, we will do this with respect. No generalizations, no easy jokes, and no reducing the complexity of these realities to ready-made stereotypes. It's important to make it clear, massage in Thailand is a traditional, ancient practice with spiritual and medical roots. But in cities like Pattaya, this universe has transformed over time. It has adapted to tourism, incorporated new services, and started to occupy an ambiguous space between legitimate well-being and entertainment, directed at the visitor's desires. In this ambiguous space, there are stories that deserve to be told and understood. If you are here looking for only spicy curiosities, you may be disappointed. But if you want to understand how this type of service operates, what social dynamics are involved, and how all of this reflects part of Pattaya's identity, then you are in the right place. This experience goes beyond the surface. It goes beyond what is seen in the illuminated facades. It is a deeper, more attentive, more human look. And it all starts now. Before understanding what massage houses represent in Pattaya today, it is essential to look back and understand where this tradition comes from. Thai massage did not arise as entertainment, nor as a tourist product. It has deep roots in the country's history and is directly linked to spirituality, health, and care for the body and mind. It is believed that the origin of traditional Thai massage dates back more than 2,000 years. Many attribute its creation to an Indian physician named Jivaka Kumar Bhacha, a contemporary of Buddha, who is said to have brought his knowledge of Ayurvedic medicine and anatomy to Southeast Asia. These teachings, upon arriving in Thailand, merged with local practices and elements of Buddhism, giving rise to a unique system of healing and well-being. For centuries, Thai massage was an orally transmitted practice, taught in temples, and applied as part of traditional medicine. It was not just a body technique, but a ritual of energetic balance. The body, according to this tradition, has energy lines called sen, and the goal of the massage is to unblock these lines, allowing vital energy, known as lom, to circulate freely. This is done through finger pressure, stretching, conscious breathing, and connection between therapist and patient. In many temples, such as the famous Wat Pho in Bangkok, it is still possible to see ancient inscriptions describing the energy lines and pressure points used in massage. Wat Pho is even considered the birthplace of modern Thai massage and houses one of the country's most traditional schools. There, students learn not only the techniques, but also the spiritual foundations of the practice, including mantras and codes of ethical conduct. Over time, Thai massage gained recognition outside the temples, beginning to be offered in alternative medicine clinics and, more recently, in spas and urban centers. Its popularization came with the growth of tourism, especially from the 1980s onward, when Thailand began to establish itself as an international tourist destination. Pattaya, being a city almost entirely built to cater to tourists, quickly absorbed this demand. However, with the increasing presence of foreign visitors, the practice began to be shaped according to external expectations. What was once a therapeutic technique, focused on healing and balance, started to become a service marketed on a large scale. Here arises an important point: the distinction between traditional Thai massage, with spiritual and medical roots, and the variations more focused on tourism, such as the famous foot massage on the sidewalk, or the services offered in more casual establishments commonly associated with leisure. They are not the same thing, and are often mistakenly confused. Of course, there are still many serious and respectable places offering authentic Thai massage, including in Pattaya, but what is observed is that the meaning of massage has diluted over time, especially in tourist areas. What was once a gesture of care and spirituality has, in some cases, transformed into a cultural product adapted for quick consumption. Therefore, understanding this origin is so important. Before entering a massage house, it is good to remember that what is offered there may have little, or a lot, to do with tradition. It all depends on the place, the proposal, and the respect with which this practice is treated. And for those seeking more than just muscle relief, understanding this past can completely change the experience. After understanding the origins of Thai massage and its relationship with spirituality and well-being, it's time to observe how this tradition has adapted to the urban and tourist reality of Pattaya. The city, with its clear vocation for entertainment, has transformed massage into one of the most visible, accessible, and sought-after services by those passing through. But how do these massage houses operate in practice? The first point that stands out is the variety. In a short walk through the central streets of Pattaya, you can find dozens of massage houses. Some operate in small, simple spaces with chairs for foot massage and curtains separating clients. Others occupy 2- or 3-story buildings with private rooms, relaxing lighting, and a complete menu of services. There are also luxury spas with personalized service, aromatic teas at the reception, and prices comparable to 5-star hotels. Upon entering a massage house, the procedure is usually similar. You are greeted by an attendant, or by several, sitting outside the establishment, calling customers with a friendly massage. Once inside, the client chooses the type of massage desired. In many places, there is a printed menu with basic descriptions of the service, usually available in English. The most common types are traditional Thai massage, oil massage, foot massage, hot stone massage, and relaxing massage. Prices vary according to the type and duration. In simpler houses, an hour of traditional Thai massage can cost between 150 and 300 baht. In higher-end spas, the same service can exceed 1,000 baht. After the choice, the client is taken to the massage area. It can be a room with dividers or a private space. In some cases, there is an offer of a bath before and after the service. The clothes are usually provided by the establishment, a kind of light pajamas, ideal for the stretching and pressure movements typical of the Thai technique. The environment is generally dimly lit, with soft music, strong air conditioning, and the characteristic scent of essential oils. The experience, most of the time, is conducted with professionalism. The massage therapists apply the techniques with precision, often in silence, respecting the client's space. In serious establishments, there is attention to hygiene, discretion, and cordial service. But not all houses follow this standard. Some operate in a more ambiguous realm, offering services that go beyond traditional massage. In these cases, the atmosphere changes. The lighting is more provocative, the attendant's approach is more direct, and there are implicit codes that, for the more observant, are easily identifiable. These establishments tend to attract a different type of client, and although they do not openly present themselves as places for sexual tourism, they flirt with that gray area. It is important to highlight that many massage therapists work exclusively with therapeutic techniques within legality and ethics. They are there to provide a professional service, often supporting their families with this work. Others, by choice or necessity, work in environments where the boundaries between physical care and intimate entertainment blur. Therefore, understanding how these houses operate in Pattaya goes beyond knowing the prices or types of massage. It is necessary to pay attention to the environment, the professional's demeanor, and the type of approach made right at the entrance. There is a clear difference between a traditional spa and a house geared toward adult entertainment, and this difference can be subtle, but it is always present. Walking through Pattaya and observing how these establishments operate is also an exercise in social reading. Each facade tells a story, each room reveals a reality, and behind the technical touch or the commercial smile, there is always a human layer that is worth understanding with more attention. While from the outside, the massage houses in Pattaya may seem just part of the tourist circuit, Inside they hold entire lives, silent stories that sustain the gears of daily life. Behind each service, there is someone who wakes up early, puts on the uniform, tidies their hair, and positions themselves at the door waiting for the next client to enter. In this chapter, the focus is on them, the massage professionals, who are often seen only as part of the service but carry deep stories, difficult choices, and often little voice. I spoke with 3 women who work in different houses in the city. I will not expose names or faces, out of respect and for safety. But what I heard from them says much more about Pattaya than any image of a brightly lit facade. The first, just over 30 years old, came from northeastern Thailand. She left her 2 children with her mother in a small village and moved to Pattaya in search of better opportunities. She works every day from 10 in the morning until 10 at night, with only a break to eat. She told me that she learned the technique of traditional massage in a free course offered by an NGO. She started in a small spa and now works in a well-located house near Walking Street. She takes pride in providing quality service and seeing relief on the clients' faces after a well-done session. But she also spoke about physical fatigue, pain in her hands, and the pressure to always maintain a good mood, even on days when her body calls for a break. The second massage therapist I spoke with works in an environment more focused on entertainment. She was straightforward. Some clients expect more than just a massage here. She said that this is negotiated separately, and that each woman decides whether or not to offer something beyond therapeutic touch. She made it clear that she has never been forced, but knows of colleagues who found themselves with no choice. When you have children to feed, you do what you must, she said, with her eyes downcast. The third one is younger, only 24 years old, and works at a high-end spa. She is fluent in English, has technical training, and sees the profession as a stepping stone. I don't want to do this my whole life, but for now, it's what allows me to pay for my studies, she said. She talked to me about prejudice, especially coming from tourists who treat all massage therapists as if they were part of the same stereotype. Not everyone understands that this is work, that there is technique, that there is respect involved. These 3 voices, so different from each other, reveal an essential layer of the experience in Pattaya. While many see massage houses as a superficial service, those who work there know the effort, the wear and tear, the constant negotiation between the client's desires and personal limits. Each woman deals with this in her own way, with her own strategies to protect herself, adapt, and continue. It is essential to understand that behind the tourist environment, there are real human relationships. There is dignity in the work of these women, even when the surrounding system insists on simplifying them. Listening to them is crucial to understanding that the city is sustained not only by what is seen, but also by what is lived silently every day. If for those who work inside massage houses the routine is made of effort, technique, and adaptation, for those arriving as tourists, the experience can follow very different and often contradictory paths. Many people arrive in Pattaya with a fixed idea of what they will find when entering a massage parlor. Sometimes, this expectation comes from friends, other times from the internet, and in some cases, from fantasies that have little connection to reality. I spoke with some tourists, mostly Western men aged between 30 and 60, who agreed to share their impressions anonymously. Most had already been to some massage house in Thailand, and many came to Pattaya specifically in search of something different. When asked about what they expected, the answers varied from relaxation, curiosity, and in some cases, adventure. Kawaii, one of them was straightforward. I heard that here the massage comes with a happy ending, so I wanted to see if it was true. What becomes clear in these conversations is that the imagery surrounding massage in Pattaya has been largely constructed by informal accounts, rumors, and a considerable dose of Western eroticization. Many tourists cannot differentiate the types of establishment, nor do they perceive the distinction between a real therapeutic massage and an intimate service. They enter expecting one thing, receive another, and leave with a mix of surprise, frustration, or, in some cases, discomfort. One of the interviewees shared that he entered a house attracted by a low price and a promise of a full massage. He said that upon realizing the direction the approach was taking, he felt uncomfortable but embarrassed to leave. In the end, he described the experience as strange and sadder than exciting. So, Another, more experienced, reported that he had visited luxury spas in other parts of Thailand and was shocked by the more direct and commercialized atmosphere of some houses in Pattaya. "You realize it's not about well-being, it's about fast consumption," he said. These accounts reveal a significant distance between the fantasy sold, often by the very tourist structure of the city, and the practical and emotional reality of the experience. There are tourists who leave satisfied, yes, but there are also those who leave with more questions than answers, especially when they realize that behind the fun facade, there are real people providing a service that is not always as simple as it seems. The truth is that the tourist experience depends a lot on the willingness to look with respect, to ask before assuming, and to realize that even in a relaxed environment, there are limits. Massage, here or anywhere, is not a show set up to feed external expectation. It is a practice that involves body, space, and above all, people. And when this is forgotten, the experience stops being an exchange and becomes noise. Until now, we have talked about tradition, technique, routine, and expectation. But there is a point that cannot be ignored, no matter how uncomfortable it is: the subtle boundary between legitimate bodily care and disguised exploitation. In Pattaya, this thin line is visible but not always recognized. Crossing it, even as an observer, requires sensitivity, responsibility, and a dose of courage. It is no secret that Pattaya is known worldwide for its sex tourism. This is one of the great taboos that hover over the city, present in reports, documentaries, online forums, and, of course, in the word of mouth of travelers. And although the Thai government officially does not recognize prostitution as legal, it exists, often openly, and intertwines with sectors such as massage houses. Many of these houses operate within legality, with operating licenses, trained professionals, and appropriate structures. However, there are establishments, and there are not few, that operate on the edge, offering extra services by direct agreement with the professional or management. In some places, this is veiled. In others, not so much. Red lights, provocative uniforms, more aggressive approaches, and the old code special massage are signs that the attentive customer quickly perceives. The big question here is not just what happens inside these rooms, but what leads this to happen. In many situations, there is consent, there is choice, but there are also contexts of vulnerability. Women coming from poor regions of the country, with low education, and without other job options. Some arrive in Pattaya with promises of jobs in serious spas, and, upon realizing the real dynamics, find themselves trapped in a system that demands goals, that requires results, that pushes beyond traditional massage. There is also the cultural factor. In Thailand, openly discussing sex is still a significant taboo. The image of the Thai woman as submissive and exotic has largely been constructed to please the foreign gaze, and this directly affects the relationships within this type of service. Often the tourist sees the massage therapist as someone available, not as a professional with boundary. It is in this mismatch of expectations that exploitation arises. What is most delicate is that all of this occurs silently, camouflaged under a layer of normalcy. The happy ending massage has become part of the tourist vocabulary. Instead of generating questions, it has turned into a joke, a lure. But behind this normalization, there are imbalanced power relations, bodies transformed into products, subjectivities reduced to performance. This does not mean that all massage parlors are spaces of exploitation, nor that all women are there against their will. Reality is too complex for simplification. There are professionals who feel secure, who impose limits, who control their own narrative. But there are also those who have been driven by necessity, who accepted it due to a lack of alternatives, who carry invisible scars. The tourist who ignores this complexity participates, albeit indirectly, in the maintenance of this system. And the tourist who sees, who questions, who respects, can be an agent of change. It is not about criminalizing those who seek pleasure, nor moralizing behavior. It is about recognizing that there is a broader scenario than what is offered at the entrance, and understanding this scenario is part of the process of traveling with awareness. Massage, which began as a healing practice, has in many cases become a commodity negotiated under fragile rule. In Pattaya, it occupies an ambiguous space between wellness and desire. between tradition and business, between therapeutic touch and touch, conditioned by sexual expectation. Navigating this space requires more than curiosity. It requires responsibility. Speaking about this frankly is not condemning a culture, nor attacking a city. On the contrary, it is recognizing its complexity, and only when we have the courage to see what lies beyond the surface can we truly understand what is at stake. After understanding the context, the people and the dilemmas surrounding massage parlors in Pattaya, I decided to visit some of the most well-known places in the city. Not as a client seeking a service, but as an observer, someone interested in understanding the environment, feeling the atmosphere, noticing the details that escape at first glance. What I found was a diversity that, at first glance, may seem like just a variety of styles, but reveals much about the different worlds that coexist under the same name: massage. The first parlor I visited was located on a very busy avenue. It had a wide facade, soft lighting, and an elegant reception. Everything there had the appearance of a luxury spa. The staff was uniformed, there was ambient music, and the service menu was printed on quality paper. The service was cordial and professional from the very first moment. The place offered therapeutic massages with traditional techniques, aromatherapy packages, and complete body treatments. There was no sign of extra services or implicit codes. It was an environment that clearly sought to attract an audience willing to pay more for a refined and safe experience. Shortly afterward, I walked to another parlor, located in an alley near Walking Street. The difference was visible. The facade had brighter lights, colorful posters, and staff sitting at the door, enthusiastically approaching passers-by. "Come in, good massage," was the phrase I heard as I got closer. The atmosphere there was more informal. I entered, asked to see the menu, and noticed that the services offered were similar to those of the previous parlor, but with a more simplified language and much lower prices. There was an air of relaxation, something between warmth and improvisation. Massage was still the main product, but the approach suggested greater flexibility, something that the attentive client quickly picks up on. Finally, I visited a third parlor, much talked about in online forums, known for offering complete experience. From the entrance, the environment left little room for doubt. Red lighting, pop music, flashy decor. The staff were all made up, wearing short dresses, and the menu, while featuring traditional services, also included VIP packages with ambiguous names. It was not necessary to ask much to perceive what the focus of the parlor was. Everything revolved around suggestion, the unspoken that was nonetheless obvious. These 3 visits made it clear that in Pattaya, a massage parlor can mean many different things, and what determines this difference is not only the price or the neighborhood where it is located, but the intention with which it was created, the audience it aims to reach, and the type of experience it proposes to deliver. There are serious spaces focused on well-being and traditional technique. There are hybrid spaces that blend relaxation with entertainment, and there are those that operate directly in the field of pleasure, even if that is not always declared. Observing these environments helps to understand that massage in Pattaya is, in fact, a mirror. It reflects the client's desire, the needs of those who provide it, and the way the city has built itself around consumption. Each parlor has its own language, and knowing how to read this language is an essential part of the experience. After visiting different massage parlors and observing how they function in Pattaya, it becomes evident that beyond choosing the right place, it is crucial to know how to behave. It may seem obvious, but the truth is that many tourists arrive unprepared or guided by misconceptions and end up going through uncomfortable situations, both for themselves and for the professionals. The first thing to know is that, regardless of the type of establishment, respect is the foundation of the experience. Massage, even when marketed as a tourist product, is still a service that requires trust, physical touch, and a minimum level of intimacy. This means that treating the professional with kindness, maintaining politeness, and avoiding inappropriate comments completely changes how the experience unfolds. Another important point is to understand the boundaries. In a traditional establishment, there is no room for insinuations or tests to see how far the masseuse will go. If there is no clear indication that additional services are available, and in many places they simply do not exist, assuming that everything is on offer can be offensive and cause embarrassment. It is essential to understand where you are and what the purpose of that space is. Regarding clothing, In most establishments, you will receive an appropriate outfit for the massage, usually a lightweight, comfortable cotton set. In foot massage places or quick massages, your day's outfit is typically not an issue, but it is always good to avoid very short or inappropriate attire, especially if you are unfamiliar with the profile of the location. As for tipping, it is not mandatory, but it is expected in many places, especially in simpler establishments. If the service was good, it is common to leave something between 50 and 100 baht directly for the professional. This is seen as a sign of recognition, not submission. Making this gesture discreetly and respectfully is always welcomed. Another useful tip is to observe the environment. Places more focused on relaxation tend to have soft music, low lighting, and a calm reception. In contrast, establishments that operate with a more commercial focus or in an entertainment atmosphere are usually more eye-catching from the moment you enter. Recognizing these signals helps adjust your expectations and avoid misunderstanding. Finally, avoid recording or taking photos without permission. This applies to both the environment and the professionals. Even if the space seems informal, it is someone's workplace. A bit of sensitivity in this regard makes all the difference. Entering a massage establishment in Pattaya can be a memorable experience, for better or worse. Knowing how to behave, what to expect, and how to respect unspoken codes transforms curiosity into learning. It allows you to leave not only more relaxed, but also more aware. After walking through so many massage houses, talking to professionals, observing tourists, and trying to understand the codes of this exposed yet veiled universe, it becomes difficult to leave Pattaya with the same perspective I had when I arrived. What initially seemed like a simple tourist service revealed itself to be a mirror, not only of the city but also of the gaze of those coming from outside. Massage in Pattaya is not just a commercial transaction. It is often a meeting of distinct worlds, with different expectations and imbalanced power dynamics. On one side, there are those who arrive with money in their pockets and curiosity in their eyes. On the other, there are those who offer the service as a means of livelihood, often facing long hours and little margin for choice. Between these two extremes, there is humanity, there are stories, and there are silences that rarely make headline. One thing I learned throughout this experience was the importance of listening. Listening genuinely, without haste or judgment, allows access to nuances that typically go unnoticed. When you stop to hear a masseuse talk about the longing for her children who remained in the countryside, or about the tension of working with a client who crosses boundary, everything changes. The experience ceases to be merely a tourist curiosity and transforms into real contact with human complexity. I also realized how our presence as tourists affects the environment. The way we enter, how we speak, how we look, how we ask. All of this communicates something, and that something can open or close doors. It can be a gesture of respect or domination. In places like Pattaya, where the pleasure and service industry is so intertwined, this becomes even more visible. Ultimately, it is not about judging who frequents or works in these establishments. It is about seeing, understanding what lies beneath, recognizing that behind every massage, there is a story, and that every choice, every interaction, carries an impact, direct or indirect. Pattaya taught me that sometimes what seems simple is actually a complex mosaic of human, cultural, and economic relationships, and that only when we accept to look deeply do we truly begin to understand the place we are in, or even who we are within it. After everything I saw, heard, and experienced in this immersion through Pattaya's massage houses, it became clear that this is not just a traditional practice adapted to tourism. It is a living portrait of the city, a direct reflection of its contradictions, its economy, its culture of hospitality, but also of its ability to silence what is inconvenient to show. Talking about massage in Pattaya is talking about people, about work, about the body, about resilience. The purpose of this video was never to judge, scandalize, or reinforce cliches. From the beginning, it was to propose a more humane, more real perspective. And it is precisely this perspective that needs to be preserved when talking about any place, especially a destination like this, where the line between the exotic and the exploited is so fragile. It is easy to reduce everything to a joke or a spicy travel story. What is truly difficult is to see the complexity that exists behind every professional smile, every illuminated facade, every touch sold as a product. During this journey, I realized that Pattaya is made up of layers. There is the tourist layer, shaped to please, entertain, and offer ready-made experience. But there is also the invisible layer, the one where dilemmas, contradictions, and silent negotiations reside. This second layer is not always accessible, but it only takes a little listening, sensitivity, and genuine interest to start perceiving it. And it's not just about Pattaya, it's about us as travelers, about how we position ourselves in the places we visit, about how much we are willing to see beyond what is shown to us, and, most importantly, about how our choices, even the simplest ones, can impact lives in ways we may not always imagine. If you have made it this far, following this dive to the end, my gratitude is twofold. First, for trusting in this type of content. Second, for allowing yourself to reflect. Tourism can, and should, be enjoyable, but it can also be a form of learning. When we choose to travel with awareness, we expand not only our repertoire, but also our empathy. Now, I want to hear from you. What did this video provoke in you? What questions are lingering in your mind? Have you had any experience in Pattaya or another similar place? Leave it in the comment. Let's continue this conversation there. And if this type of content makes sense to you, subscribe to the channel. Here, the proposal is this: to travel with depth, respect, and listening. Every destination, every street, every story has something to teach us, as long as we are willing to look attentively. Pattaya taught me a lot. I hope this video has made you think as well.